Hey guys, what's happening? I wanted to put together what I hope will be a quick video on why I think Coinbase is a terrific short candidate here. It's March 29th of 2023. Um, I'm titling this video Restrained and Enjoined Why Coinbase Appears to be a Solid Short Candidate. And, I kind of drafted this little meme, if you will, as a joke, of course. Um, Likening it to Joe Pesci's character in the movie Casino, where at the end of the movie, everyone around Joe Pesci has been whacked. Now he's standing in the middle of a cornfield about to get whacked himself. They get Joe Pesci is Coinbase regulator here with a baseball bat about to crack him in the bat as he talks to more regulators here, and I kind of think that's a fitting comparison for the current circumstances surrounding Coinbase. You already have so many other entities that were either crypto based or crypto related or crypto adjacent, if you want to use the terminology of the day. And they've all more or less been shut down or told to stop offering crypto or interacting with crypto or whatnot. And Coinbase received that Wells notice last week from the SEC warning them of potential enforcement action that Coinbase leadership did not have to disclose that. They're not under any legal obligation to disclose receiving a Wells notice. However, they did for whatever reason. So we have the Wells notice here, and it says that the Coinbase must inform the SEC no later than today, March 29th, what their intentions are as far as making a Wells submission. So they have until April 5th to actually submit a Wells submission. I suppose that date could be continued, on Coinbase's request. But just giving everything that's happening in the crypto space, my guess is they're probably not going to have much leeway on that date. I think that date's probably pretty much set in stone. The other thing is that this was sent on March 22nd. So the SEC has 180 days from March 22nd to either take enforcement action or not take enforcement action following the Wells notice, which is why I like buying options out in September. I mean, I have a bunch of spreads on and everything else for puts on Coinbase. I have them for April, I have them for June, September, and January, and my size just gets bigger as I go further out in time. But again, I mean, I'm trying to speculate as to when the SEC may take enforcement action, if they do take enforcement action. So I think they will, just based on everything that has happened in the crypto space. I don't see why they wouldn't. I can't imagine Coinbase proffering anything that would stop that, but I could be entirely mistaken. Just zooming out to the chart here, you can kind of see the chart for the past year, where Coinbase was trading around, $120 a share, dropped down to about $50, $55 a share back in May of 2022. And then toward the end of 2022, was trading down around $35 a share, hit a low of $31.55 a share in January of 2023, right at the start. Has since rallied, was trading around 82 when I declared Coinbase a generational put buying opportunity, being facetious, of course. But I did think it was a great opportunity to buy puts. And then, of course, later that same afternoon, through sheer luck, the Coinbase announced that they were the recipient of a Wells notice and sent the stock, 15% lower. So I think it should have been chopped in half. I think Coinbase is essentially in a biotech zone here as far as outcomes go, where there is some upside. I think they have limited upside, but I think they have tremendous downside risk. So the fact that it's trading at like a 15% discount to where it was last week is overly rosy, in my opinion. I think this should probably be chopped in half because the downside risk is just immense. And I just base that on what's happened to pretty much anything that's touched crypto, whether it's Silvergate Bank, SBNY, Signature Bank, Binance, obviously CFTC action. So there's just anything crypto related is in the crosshairs of regulators, for better or worse. So I don't want to argue the merits of it or anything like that. I'm just saying it is what it is. and that's currently where Coinbase finds itself. So I started reading some of the replies from the CEO himself, talking about receiving the Wells notice, as well as the counsel for Coinbase, as far as the Wells notice goes, their attorney. And actually reading their comments just further solidified my position that Coinbase is in tough shape, because they're not really hanging their hat on any legal basis for why they should be able to continue. And the stuff that they are trying to hang their hat on is easily refuted. So for those reasons, I was like, this is a terrific short opportunity. It just codified my belief that going short was the thing to do here. So skipping along, they had their little blog post, but again, I mean, this is just like epic crypto babble, like we're here for the greater good and all this stuff, and won't let crypto companies come in and register. We tried, but I mean, the SEC, they've posted their rules. It seems pretty vanilla to me, but I don't know. Anyways, the next day after the Wells notice, the SEC posts this: exercise caution with crypto asset securities, investor alert bulletin. The very next day after the Wells notice, the SEC posts this, and then those offering crypto asset investments and services may not be complying with applicable law, including federal securities laws. And I mean, this thing just goes on. Proof of reserves. The SEC clearly takes exception to this. It's got its own paragraph here, talking about registration with the SEC, talking about registering as broker dealer or investment advisor, and the benefits of those positions. So another interesting thing, the SEC absolutely refuses to refer to any of these entities holding crypto or involved with crypto as exchanges. They go out of their way to not call them an exchange. They call them like a crypto. Yeah, see, they even have it here. So-called crypto exchanges. So they SEC sees them as crypto asset securities trading platforms or other intermediaries. That's what the SEC sees these things as, and doesn't care for the term. The Coinbase referring itself as an exchange, or anybody else calling it an exchange, and the SEC commissioners opined on that in prior talking points, why he thinks that. But talking about investments in crypto securities, often volatile, and lack of liquidity, potential for a company holding your crypto assets to fail or go bankrupt, which, of course, Coinbase also mentioned last year that anybody holding crypto on that platform is essentially an unsecured creditor. So they talk about unpredictability, including that the market for a particular crypto asset security may disappear altogether, or a crypto asset security may no longer be tradable anywhere. And that's where the restrained and enjoined comes in. So you have this posting that comes up the day after the Wells notice from Coinbase. So I see this as the SEC trying to get ahead of anyone holding assets at Coinbase or something similar, just saying, we're coming for these things. Get your money out while you can, because there's a chance that you will not be able to get it out. It says this black and white, right? Like, can't be any more clear. So the SEC is already out there saying that, and it's the day after Coinbase gets their Wells notice. And then if we skip along to the Gemini exchange, so Gemini gets sued by the SEC back in January, and this is a copy of the complaint for Gemini and Genesis. And if we skip down, we get to, unless defendants are permanently restrained and enjoined, they will continue to engage in the acts, practices, and courses of business set forth in this complaint, and in acts, practices, and courses of business of similar type and object. Restrained and enjoined. And then we go to, which one is this? The Kraken exchange, same terminology. or verbiage. Unless defendants are permanently restrained and enjoined, they will continue to engage in the acts, practices, courses of business set forth in this complaint, so on and so forth. That's Kraken. And then here is Ripple, XRP, and before the Ripple lunatics start chiming in, yeah, I think Ripple's going to go to the moon. It's obviously going to infinity. I don't own any of it, so I'll be broke the rest of my life. I got it. I don't want to hear it. So Ripple, anyways, has been sued by the SEC, and I think this was from 2020, and we have the same. Unless defendants are permanently restrained and enjoined, they will continue to engage in the acts, practices, courses of business. So it's this restrained and enjoined that's the real problem for Coinbase, because Ripple hasn't traded on Coinbase since this SEC notice came through, because they're under investigation by the SEC. So Coinbase doesn't want to get involved and won't let that token trade. Now, if Coinbase gets whacked with the restrained and enjoined terminology, I can foresee that really throwing a big wrench into their revenues, which have already started to decline since we have the chart here. The revenues are already in decline. And if they get hit with restrained and enjoined from trading whatever on their platform, I don't think revenues will be going up. I think there's only one direction that the revenues can go, which is down. So I think that's going to be a real problem for Coinbase should they get hit with it. And that's kind of what I'm girding for. And that's why it's amazing that the stock's still trading at $65 a share. We also see that we had some insiders selling stock. This will be something to watch as well. They're obviously, selling stock, not loading up. And of course it comes the day before, well, leading up to that Wells notice, which I'm sure they had, some clue as to that happening. And then this is John Reed Stark, who posted this whole his take on the Wells notice. He worked for the SEC. Now he does private consulting, and kind of just like takes down the Coinbase's publicly mentioned defense piece by piece, which they're really hanging their hat that the SEC let Coinbase come public, so therefore the SEC has permitted the Coinbase business model. But as he points out, let's be clear, the SEC's role when approving Coinbase's registration statement was merely to ensure that Coinbase made the proper disclosures in their application. So that's it. SEC is not signing off on their business model. It's just signing off that they made their proper disclosures in their application. And this is coming from a guy who worked at the SEC. I have a feeling that he is probably more right to opine on that than the people at Coinbase, whose business model is contingent upon the SEC not intervening. So there was, that point that he goes on to make several other points in that as well. But I think the biggest issue for Coinbase is whatever goodwill that they had from the regulators or legislature, political bodies, entities, whatever you want to say. I mean, even public people. The fact that hundreds of thousands of people have been ripped off by Solana, Binance, FTX. I mean, you can go across the board and just like hundreds of thousands of people in the United States, if not millions of people in the United States, have all been snookered by these operations. And so whatever goodwill was there is out the window. And then never mind the fact that Binance yesterday, or was it 2 days ago, getting sued by the CFTC and then disclosing in the complaint. CFTC has in their complaint that they talk about, the Binance leadership talks about Hamas and Hamas's inability to buy an AK-47 with $600. So you get all this stuff going on. Like, this is not building any goodwill whatsoever for the crypto industry. It's destroying whatever goodwill was left after pretty much everything in crypto land has blown up, because 98% of it's fraudulent. So I think for all those reasons, Coinbase has an insurmountable challenge ahead of it. And even if they are able to overcome the challenge, Coinbase leadership has already made it readily apparent that they're going to fight the SEC, which sounds great on paper, but they're going to be restrained and enjoined, my belief, at least, from doing business. So their revenues are going to go further down this slope right here. We can just draw a nice little happy line, and then we can just have it kind of hit zero right here. And I think that's what's going to end up happening to Coinbase. So I've been trading options, puts with that notion, and I really like my favorite trade currently is buying these September 30 puts, short the 20 puts, short the 10 puts for about $1.30-ish or so. Max potential gain 870. Tags 52-week low of 31.55, and I think coin will be firmly below that by September. So that's my favorite trade. I'll probably flip it, prior to that, but I think that thing's going to be a solid trade. I mean, I could be completely wrong and end up losing my shirt in this trade. I just don't think that. I would give that like a 5% chance of happening and a 95% chance of this making some real money. So we'll see. I wish Coinbase well. I think they have their work cut out for them. I have absolutely no idea why anybody would want to own Coinbase with these regulatory headwinds blowing directly in their face, Coinbase's face, and they really have their work cut out for them. And I think the stock should be probably trading right now at about $30 a share, which is just kind of taking into account the downside risks as well as like limited upside should they prevail, because they're just not going to be able to conduct business while this case gets figured out. And again, it doesn't really matter how the case shakes out, whether it goes in their favor or not. I just don't think they're going to be able to have a business in the interim while that case is figured out. And they've already said that the leadership's already said that they're going to fight the case. So that's my 2 cents. We'll see what happens. The biggest question here is how long it takes before the SEC ends up suing Coinbase. And, it could be 150 days from now or so, because they have that 180 days to act after the issuance of a Wells notice. Given everything that's going on with or all the things blowing up in crypto land, I think they'll move faster than that. That's why I did buy some June options. I bought some April options. That's my smallest position. I'm basically not expecting those options to come remotely close to being in the money or anything like that. I think my June ones stand a better chance. I bought some spreads, bought some options outright, but we'll see what ends up happening. So this is going to be an interesting one, and just remember the terminology: restrained and enjoined. So it's going to be a little bit of a problem for Coinbase to operate when they are restrained and enjoined by the SEC. But we shall see. Maybe I'll be wrong. See you guys.